are going to start with chapter number 11, the revolt of 1857. So in this chapter, I will tell you about the causes of the revolt, right, and what were the different developments that held and outburst of the revolt and failure, why it fails, what were its aftermaths. So revolt of 1857 broke against the British rule in northern India and southern India, central India, right? During 100 year, what happened? The Battle of Plassey in 1757 heavily suffered Indians at the hands of foreigners. So एक discontent हुआ, hatred हुआ लोगों के बीच में, and this has been rapidly rising among the princes, peasants, artisans, soldiers, and the Governor General, Governmentship Lord Canning. Millions of soldiers and peasants, they fought bravely for years to drive out their foreign rule. So what happened? Revolt was called Sepoy Mutiny. What were the causes of revolt? First of all, let's study about the political causes. So जो ब्रिटिश पॉलिसी थी वो टेरिटोरियल एनेक्सेशंस की थी, जिससे क्या हुआ? डिस्प्लेसमेंट हुआ किसका? लार्ज नंबर ऑफ रूलर्स एंड चीफ्स का, राइट? सो डॉक्ट्रिन ऑफ लैप्स और सब्सिडरी अलायंस की जो पॉलिसीज थी वो आई और एनेक्सेशन हुआ झांसी का, which turned into what? Which turned into brave than into bitter anger, right? So then you can see he adopted the son Peshwa Baji Rao and refused the pension after his father's death, right? Because adopted one was not allowed. And Nawab, through his loyal to the British, ornaments जितने भी belong करते थे ladies of the royal harem को, they were auctioned to Kolkata, right? And what happened afterwards? जो emperor था, he was now told to that his successor lose the imperial title and would be termed as prince's only, right? And there is a vacant place in the royal palaces. So let's study about economic causes. So in Indian economy shattered during company rule. Trade and commerce suffered both. चाहे वो trade हो, चाहे वो commerce हो, दोनों बहुत suffer कर रहे थे. And the lot of peasants, artisans, and the traders were miserable. Money lenders और जितने भी petty officials थे, they were flourished at the cost of poor peasants, right? Why with annexation to administrative machinery थी? What happened? They abolished down time to time, and the old administrative system had been the part of all the persons employed, right? So what happened next is your social and religious cause. इससे fear हो गया among the people about the British government was to destroy their religious and convert India into Christianity. So Christian missionaries जो थी, they held by the authority of the state converted people through temptation of money, job, status. So this movement ridiculed and condemned Hindu religious practices. In 1850, government enacted the law, and what? It's converted to Christianity. Next is military causes. मतलब जो आपके जितने भी soldiers थे, they suffered from the civilians, and the rank of सूबेदार pay ₹60 per month. ये highest rank थी. So we can say that soldiers have religious and caste differences of their own. According to the Act passed in 1856, new recruits undertook severe overseas when required. This hurt their religious sentiment. जितने भी religious sentiments थे उनको hurt करा. And the English defeats in the Cinema War in Afghanistan and fill Indian soldiers with hope. ठीक है, Indian soldiers को एक hope के साथ fill करा. The rebellion was not sudden occurrence, not the first of its kind. There had been many uprisings. बहुत सारी uprising होती है, right? और जो आपका revolt था वो क्या हुआ? Brutally suspended हुआ. So what were the outburst of the revolt? क्या थे? So outbreak of the revolt, मेरठ 34th regiment जो थी, right? It fired at the sergeant major ascent revolt against the British in defense. On 9 May 19, soldiers of the army censured at Meerut, 557 kilometers from Delhi, and refused to use cartridge. And 85 of them were disarmed, arrested, and jailed for 10 years. Next day, मतलब 10 May को जो whole of the Meerut army was in revolt, and the soldiers stormed jail. And what they did? They released prisoner, right? And the banner of revolt was unfurled. फिर क्या होता है? स्प्रेड ऑफ रिवोल्ट इन दिल्ली. फिर जो रिबेलियन आर्मी है वो दिल्ली मार्च कर जाती है एंड दे किल्ड द यूरोपियन ऑफिसर्स. बहादुर शाह, द वर्ल्ड मुगल एम्परर, एंड वाज द प्रोक्लेम्ड रूलर ऑफ इंडिया. सो व्हाट हैपेंड विद द रिवोल्ट ऑफ 1857? यू कैन सी दैट Bengal army revolt spread to Awadh, Rohilkhand, Doab, Bundelkhand, Central India, and large parts of Bihar and East Punjab were all ablaze with the revolt. So what were the main center? Delhi, Kanpur, Lucknow and Jhansi. सबसे पहले हम दिल्ली की बात करते हैं. बहादुर शाह यहाँ के मुगल एम्पायर थे, right? Emperor थे, sorry. They heroically and vigorously rebelled for it. And weakest link जो इनका था वो था आपका chain of leadership. जो बख्त खान थे, जो रियल लीडर थे मुगल आर्मी के, he led the revolt at Bareilly and brought the troops to Delhi. और वो ट्रूप्स को कहाँ लेके आ गए? दिल्ली लेके आ गए, राइट? ब्रिटिश रिकैप्चर्ड, ब्रिटिश ने क्या करा? रिकैप्चर्ड कर लिया दिल्ली को. एंड व्हाट हैपेंड? उसने ट्राई भी करा आगे एंड ही एक्साइल्ड टू रंगून इन बुर्मा, राइट? एंड आफ्टरवर्ड दिल्ली वाज लूटेड एंड प्लंडर्ड एंड द रिगेन ऑफ टेरर स्फीयर इन दिल्ली. देन कानपुर, इफ वी टॉक अबाउट, नाना साहेब proclaimed himself Peshwa and led the revolt at Kanpur. He expelled the British troops from Kanpur, a British person including women and children in the city. चाहे women हो चाहे children हो, all were included. Right? Next is Lucknow. जो revolt it was led by Begum Hazrat Mahal of Awadh, acting as a regent of her son, right? And the general soldiers, civilian, they entered the residency building and held it for long. Lucknow was reoccupied in 1858 और आपके जो जनरल थे that is Campbell and the garrison was rescued. Begum escaped to Nepal. Next is Jhansi. One of the greatest leader of revolt was Rani of Jhansi. She, like a true heroine, fought against the British forces under Sun Hughes Rose. Story of her bravery and courage still inspire the people of India. However, when all the chances of victory has ended, Rani escaped and joined Kanke Tope at Kalpi. जो जर्नल इंग्लिश थे आपके सर ह्यूग रॉस, followed their combined forces were defeated at Gwalior. Right? Bihar, after 21 years of old chieftain, discontent of जमींदार of Jagdishpur in Bihar. ये chief organization थे revolt of Bihar के, and later he joined Nana Sahib and died fighting in April 1858. फिर suppression होता है revolt का. It took British army surprise to find out the extent of popular support, right? So both soldiers and the civilians population put up the fierce resistance when the British tried to crush the revolt. So we can say that Delhi, our northwestern province, Agra, India, and western Bihar. It was ironic that every soldier who has mutinied on the question of being asked to cartridge grease the cow of pig grease and were willing to use what? Same cartridge in the order to fight their British enemy. So what happened? Innumerable public execution were done to instill terror amongst the people. Eventually rebellion was put down. So why did the revolt fail? The revolt was not well organized. The Indian revolutionaries did not have network of trained soldiers. What happened? There was no centralized planning or एक centralized planning या coordinate plans नहीं थे. So what are the aftermath? The British Parliament felt that they could not carry out ruling India with the same policy anymore. First of all British government accepted direct responsibility of ruling India, and the power of East India Company were transferred to British Crown in order to ensure more responsible management. Right? So we can say Governor General of India was given title of Viceroy and personal representative Crown. And the other important changes were, what were the other important changes? All ruling chiefs were assured that no further annexation would be made under subsidiary alliance or doctrine of right. और क्राउन ने प्रॉमिस करा कि हम किसी भी तरीके का कोई इंटरफेयर नहीं करेंगे, चाहे वो सोशल हो, चाहे वो कोई भी रिलीजियस प्रैक्टिस हो. देन पॉलिसीज वर मेड टू प्रोटेक्ट लैंडलॉर्ड्स. पॉलिसी ऐसी बनाई गई कि लैंडलॉर्ड्स और जमींदार को प्रोटेक्ट करा. द ब्रिटिश बिलीव दैट जो मुस्लिम्स थे, द मुस्लिम्स पीपल, they were responsible for the revolt. सबसे जो मेन कॉज था रिवोल्ट का वो कहते हैं मुस्लिम्स लोग. From now the portion of European soldiers in army increased and Indian soldiers के जो नंबर था वो क्या हो गया? डिक्रीज हो गया. Right? So the revolt of 1857 was the first step in the emergence of national movement. It united through, in a limited sense, people of India from a common cause. So what was the impact? Revolt का impact क्या पड़ा? सबसे पहले हम बात करेंगे जो गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडियन एक्ट है 1858 ये पास हुआ. जो पावर थी ईस्ट इंडिया कंपनी की ट्रांसफर टू ब्रिटिश क्राउन. नाउ अ ब्रिटिश मेंबर वाज अपॉइंटेड एज द सेक्रेटरी ऑफ स्टेट फॉर इंडिया. और ये रिस्पॉन्सिबल बना किसके लिए? ऑन द मैटर्स रिलेटेड टू गवर्नेंस ऑफ इंडिया. सेक्रेटरी वाज टू बी असिस्टेड बाय द एडवाइजरी काउंसिल, 15 मेंबर, जिसको हम इंडियन काउंसिल कहते हैं. गवर्नर जनरल ऑफ इंडिया वाज नाउ गिवन दैट डेजिग्नेशन टू द वाइसराय. ही वाज टू बी द पर्सनल रिप्रेजेंटेटिव. क्या बोला गया? ये पर्सनल रिप्रेजेंटेटिव होगा. राइट. जो आर्मी थी, इट वाज रीऑर्गेनाइज्ड and proportion of British soldiers were increased. India were divided into martial and non-martial races, right? And afterward, Queen Victoria, what happened? She was a ruler of princely state, and government would not annex their territory. So what happened? By stopping this annexation, withdrawing doctrine of lapse, and rewarding titles, honors to the ruler, government ने क्या करा? They tried to make these allies. Muslims were viewed by the British suspicious. As a result, land and property of Muslims were confiscated. पॉलिसीज और मेड जिससे आप क्या कर सकते हो? लैंड लॉर्ड्स को, जमींदार्स को प्रोटेक्ट कर सकते हो बाय गिविंग देम सिक्योरिटी ऑफ द राइट. एंड इट इज सेड दैट आफ्टर 1857 अ न्यू फेज ऑफ हिस्ट्री बिगिन इन इंडिया. एक नया फेज बनेगा. एंड टैपिंग रिबेलियन इन 1850 thousands of laboring जो पुअर पीपल थे, they were huang to fight the establishment of having the kingdom of great peace. नो डिफरेंस, किसी भी तरह कोई डिफरेंस नहीं था सोशल क्लास में या फिर मेन और वुमेन में. कंजप्शन ऑफ ओपियम, टैबाको, अल्कोहल हैज बीन डन एट दैट टाइम. राइट. दिस वाज ऑल इन दिस चैप्टर. होप यू अंडरस्टूड ईच एंड एवरीथिंग. नाउ आई विल स्टार्ट विद द एक्सरसाइज. नाउ फर्स्ट लेट्स स्टार्ट विद टेक द करेक्ट ऑप्शन. रानी लक्ष्मीबाई लेड द रिवोल्ट एट झांसी. फर्स्ट इज on dash 1857 Sepoy released imprisoned Sepoys on 10 May. Bakat Khan was dash. Bakat Khan क्या था? He was a soldier. A revolt of 1857 started from, कहाँ से start हुआ था? मेरठ. Next is Indian soldiers in British Army were called, उन्हें क्या कहा जाता था? Sepoy. Next is fill in the blanks. The revolt of 1857 was started as a dash of the Sepoys. Mutiny. As a mutiny. Dash adopted son of Peshwa Bajirao become one of the leader. किसने? कुंवर सिंह. The immediate cause of revolt was, immediate cause क्या थे revolt के? or weak rulers. The important center of revolt was, the important center of revolt were Sepoys refused to go on the sea voyage. कहाँ जाने से मना कर दिया था? Sea voyage in Burma. In the Lucknow revolt was condemned by, लखनऊ में किसने करा था? हजरत बेगम हजरत महल. Now write T for true and F for false statement. Now first is East India Company continued to rule over India after 1857. True. False. Some Indian reformers wanted to change some of the social practices. True. A 7-mile long sea train arrived Delhi. It's true. Revolt of 1857 spread over India. It's true. Adopted son was of Peshwa Bazirao, refused for father prince. Is true. Bahadur Shah was too old to lead rebellion. False. He was not that much. कानपुर के तो आपके नाना साहिब हैं. लखनऊ की बेगम हसरत, झांसी की लक्ष्मीबाई, वेस्टर्न बिहार के कुंवर और दिल्ली के बख्तर. Now answer the following question. First is, what is the demand of Rani Lakshmibai of Jhansi that refused by the British? What were the causes of discontent जो हो रहा था among the Indian sepoys? उसका क्या reasons थे that you have to tell. Causes पता नहीं. Objection: did sepoy have to new cartilage? How do unorganized rebellion originate? What was the impact of policy of East India Company on people? Describe the outburst of revolt. How did East India Company regain control over the country, India? Who led the revolt and with the whose help Nana Sahib attacked the British, and mention any one military cause of the revolt. Right? This is all in this chapter. Now we have completed. Hope you understood each and everything. Let's meet in the next class. Thank you.